In just a few moments, I'm going to show you how to automatically apply association labels in HubSpot using Zapier. Hi, I'm Ryan Schweighart, founder of Wholeheart Impact, where I help businesses grow leveraging HubSpot and Zapier. Today's post is inspired by a few posts that I've seen in both the HubSpot and Zapier communities about how to automatically apply association labels. While this can be done within HubSpot workflows, today we'll be focused a little bit more on how to do this within Zapier. So let's dive in. So what I'm going to do is begin with the end in mind, and I'm going to show you how it works in action. Then, like any horrible magician, I'm going to show you how to do it. So the first thing we have here, we're in my demo account, and we're looking at Baker King Company, and we have a number of contacts associated with this company. Now you'll notice here Charles Nelson has a billing contact association label applied. So how we want to use this in action is, let's say we have a deal for this company that gets created, and whenever that company gets associated to that deal, we want to go ahead and automatically apply Charles Nelson, in this case, the billing contact, to that deal as an associated contact with the billing contact label. So that's what we're going to do. I've got a deal here, and I'm going to go ahead and remove this association. So what we have here is a deal that does not have a company associated. We're going to associate Baker King, and then we're going to see that Charles Nelson gets added as a, or associated as a contact with the billing contact label. So we'll go ahead and add an association, choose an existing one, Baker King. No need to worry about the association label for the company. But then I'm going to go ahead and refresh the page. We should see Charles Nelson come in as the billing contact. Now, just to show you the flexibility or kind of the power of it, so let's go ahead and remove Charles Nelson as the association, and we're going to remove Baker King as the associated company. We're going to hop back over into Baker King, and we're going to change Charles Nelson from being the billing contact and switch it to Angela Neal. So we'll go ahead and edit her association labels and add billing contact for Angela Neal. And so then we'll hop back over into that same deal, and we'll go ahead and reassociate Baker King and next and save, and then refresh the page. Give it one more second. Okay, we'll refresh one more time. Let's re-trigger. We may have done that touch too fast. So we've got Baker King. Again, we should see Angela Neal come across as the associated contact with the billing contact label. And there we go. So let's dive into how we did it. So the first thing we need to do is make sure that our association labels are set up properly. I'm going to just touch on briefly how to do that, but there's more help articles. If you just Google it, you'll get to some good HubSpot help articles on association labels. But to get there, to edit your association labels or create association labels, go to settings in the top right, then come down to objects. The first thing we want to do is create that contact to company association label for the billing contact. And then we want to create a contact to deal association label for billing contact. So you can go into objects and contacts and then associations here. And then you'll just hit the create association label. And I just did a single label. You can do billing contact, and that's pretty much it. As far as the limit, I think in this case, I did do a custom as far as company to contacts and only one there. and then contact the companies. I did many. Um, you should be able to, get by with just having many in both cases. And then the contact to deal. So we've got contacts to companies. And then if I hop over to contacts to deals, I've already created the billing contact here. One thing you'll note is if I come in and I type in billing contact, it's going to give me an error. And in this case, I do have billing contact already created. It'll also create an error, won't create the association label properly because you've got that contact to company association label already applied for this internal name here. So you can still name it billing contact as far as the label goes, but whenever you're creating this for the contact to deals, you'll need to click on this edit icon, and I think I did like CD, so contact to deal, billing contact. So that's just a note that you'll need to tweak the internal name most likely for the contact to deal association label. So once those two are created, again for this one, I did one to many, and so many contacts and many deals as far as the configuration of the association label limit. Then the association labels are set up. The next thing that we needed to do was just make sure that we're using that association label. So within the company, having an individual that has that billing contact label applied. Um, the the next or the next major step in the setup process is going to settings and creating a webhook essentially. So this allows you to fire a data to be sent anytime a deal association is changed. So that's what we're going to set up now is if you go into settings and then integrations, and you're going to select on this private apps portion, go ahead and create a private app or leverage an existing one. So we'll hop into this HubSpot API testing, and we're going to want to hop into the edit app portion and then over into the webhooks tab. And so the first thing you're going to want to do is create a subscription. And what I did is I selected deal and I selected when an association is changed, and then you'll hit subscribe. It'll ask you to update the scopes. Go ahead and accept the scope updates for the app itself. And then to get this target URL, we'll hop into Zapier itself, and I'll hop into this edit portion. And so your trigger step is going to be a webhook. And so you're going to select that for your trigger step. For the event, you're going to select catch hook, and then no need to pick off a child key here. And for the test portion, whenever you go over to this tab, you're going to want to copy this URL, and then you're going to want to take that URL and paste it as the target URL for your private app in HubSpot. Essentially, once you've got these two things set up, go ahead and commit changes. And then the rest of the process is building out the Zap itself. So an example of the data that's coming through, you'll get some basic information like record IDs and that type of thing from the webhook itself. And then we're going to want to go ahead and apply a filter step. So we really only want to trigger on when a company gets associated to the deal. So that's what we're going to use as a filter step, is this association type, deal to company. And so that's what we've got here is a filter step within Zapier. And for the setup, I've got association type exactly matches deal to company. And then I also really only want to trigger it whenever an association actually occurs, not necessarily when one is removed. And so I went ahead and added this criteria as well to prevent it from going through. So when association removed is false, it would filter it out. And so if an association is actually applied, then it would continue on in the workflow or the Zap. This third step is a API request. And so whenever you select HubSpot, you have the ability to leverage your login credentials through Zapier. And so you can come down here to this API request beta step and then map your account. In the action step, you're going to want to use a get method, and you're going to want to put in this endpoint, and we're going to map to the deal ID, or I guess the company ID, excuse me, the company ID, and then everything else is going to be hard-coded in here. And by doing it this way, Zapier does have a built-in, HubSpot find association step, but it doesn't provide that much detail per se. It just provides the record ID. This gives us information about the association label and so forth. So the main thing that we're after here is we get this whole body output that has some of the label information and that type of thing. And we're essentially going to put this output into a custom code step to extract the contact with the billing contact label. So that's what I did for step 4 here, is I've got a code by Zapier step, and I've selected run JavaScript. And as far as the action itself, I actually generated this with AI, but I'll put this in kind of the post below as well as far as what the code looks like. It should match. I think the biggest thing that we're going to need to focus on is this green portion here, is that the label matches exactly with what you have put in for your HubSpot account. But yeah, I just leveraged the generate with AI to put together this code for me. And the only thing that I'm really feeding it is this response body from the previous step. And all you're going to get is a object ID, and that's all we're after. And then the last step is creating that association in HubSpot and applying the billing contact label. So we've got the HubSpot, app selected, and for the event, we have create association, map your account, and then hop over to the action tab. You can choose the task halting strategy based on whatever you prefer. But as far as the main setup, we are going to map to the object ID or the contact ID from the previous step. And then we're going to select contact as the object type. And then we're only looking to associate it with the deal. So we just have one here for the number of association types that should be created. And then for that object, we've got deal selected here. This is the part where we get to apply that association label. So type of the association. If you select this drop down, it should update real time. So if you forget to add the association label prior to doing this, you can go back and add it. And generally, I'll just refresh the whole page itself, but sometimes you can even kind of clear it and go to a different step and come back to that step, and the drop down will be refreshed. So we've got this billing contact label. Again, we put CD as kind of that internal name to signify contact to deal, because we already had a company deal or company to contact billing contact label created. And then the last piece is just the deal ID. I went ahead and grabbed it from the trigger step. And that's pretty much it. So one thing that you'll see, it's like, okay, so the from object ID and the to object ID, as we think about these things. So because it says the association type is deal to company, that means that the from object ID that we have listed here is essentially going to be that deal object ID. And then the to object ID, again, because we have this association type listed here, that to object ID is going to be the company in the trigger step. If you're not aware, the object ID can be found in the URL. So whenever you're viewing a record within HubSpot, in the top portion towards the end of the URL, you're going to see this object ID match up with it. So as you go through setting this up for yourself, let me know if you have any questions by posting in a comment below or reaching out to me directly. My information is towards the bottom of my website page. And so, yeah, if you like what you've seen or would like to see other things kind of associated with HubSpot and Zapier, let me know and I'll put something together. Otherwise, I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.